Uh-oh, it's time for the hobby hang. A bump, bum, bum. Mm-hmm. Hmm. Oh yeah, that's what I was doing. Mm-hmm. Alrighty. Doing it live. Hey, hey, hanging out on YouTube today. It's the 28th. Hi, friends. Oh no. Oh God, no. Not now. If not now, then how will my silence inevitably end? Little in tongues for you. Hey, listen to that up again. So fucking good. If you are listening to this and you're just like, man, I want an early morning recommendation of music that I may or may not be able to find, I'll help you find it. In Tongues was small a small band from where I am from. However, the band that they came from was a bigger band, and a lot of other people might know who they are, but they were called Code Armada, and they were a pretty big band from Louisville in like the post-hardcore scene. But when I say like kind of big, there is a season of Real World where they were doing the season at the same time that Code Armada was on tour. So like there's like on the season of Real World, they had like people write on like the front door. And that season there was a Code Armada Loves Real World. Anywho, they made a band afterwards, like two of the guys. It's called In Tongues. It's fucking sick. I have the EP. If it's not uploaded, I'll upload it because people should hear that. It's a sick album. Anywho, it's 28th. Happy 28th. What that means is today we're going to be doing fun stuff, and I'm probably going to be streaming it. So, I don't think I have shown this Rowdy Boy yet, but this is where we're at with Vemmet. I had to remember his name there for a second. Vemmet, our warrior priest. Not heretical priest, just warrior priest, though he is very heretical. Let's see. You're not gonna... Nope. Now, I wonder if it has to do with... I think it does. I think it has to do... Only a certain part. Yeah, okay. As long as I keep it within X amount, it keeps autofocus on. So that's cool. Once it gets past a certain amount of zoom, I guess the autofocus doesn't work maybe. But yeah, so I still need to wrap them in cloth. But he's going to be holding essentially banisters looted from a church with supposedly the holy nails looted as well and taped to the ends like the heads of hammers or little pikes. So I find that very fun. If you can't use Jesus's nails, what's he doing for you? And then I got these other two little boys that I put together this weekend. Not this weekend, I guess it was last week. But backpack fell. So can we get a little bit better angle at this boy? Maybe. Oh. There we go. Now you can see that pretty face. So this was one of the Westphalia miniatures that I snipped the head off as well as the arm. I snapped off the top of the head. That's going to become a flail. The hand was holding a cross, and then the other hand was holding the hammer, and then the head, of course. Yo, good morning, possum. So, yeah, I got those kind of little things done. So today we will be doing the rest of the fun, like kind of little conversion work for them. Here is our saboteur. And I think my little clock finally stopped. It's been making music for me all morning, but it finally stopped. I might have to like turn it. Yep, there we go. It just needed a little. I really like this creepy little clock. I think you can hear it. You probably can hear it. Yeah. Faintly in the background. I really like it that I'm assuming it has to do with weight. I'm guessing it has to be weight. It has to do with the weight. That there's something inside of here that the clock, because these are old grandfather clock parts, or maybe not grandfather clocks. They are. I can hear the ticking. It stopped, so you won't have to hear the ticking this whole time. I'm sorry, possum. I got a couple clocks that I'm really excited about. So they're like old. I need to do something with the frames. I need to clean them for sure. They definitely have some mold in them. But the other one that I got is, they're all very sexy, but they're just begging to be turned into something really fucking cool. Yeah, a little black and gold. It sounded like a sample from a song. So that's, yeah, like, as soon as, I'll put this one in front of the big camera so you can see it too. So I am very, very excited about them. This is my, hey, what did you get from your wife's grandparents' house this weekend? This is my my 28. Oh, hey man, happy 28, everybody. We're gonna do my wife's grandparents' grab bag. What did I get from their house this weekend? 9-inch nails. I just realized, is that where 9-inch nails get their name? I don't listen to them. But now I'm thinking about it. Okay, how long is a 16 centimeter or 17 centimeters? Is that 9 inches? Like, it's probably, because that's how long the nails supposedly were that went into Christ. I bet that's where 9-inch nails got their name from. Huh. Yep, possum. To answer the question, I don't know if dense is the right word. I'm just not aware, I guess. I don't listen to the 9-inch nails. I've never listened to a full song by them. So I guess I don't know where their band name came from because I've not thought about it. But I'm betting it's a reference to the nails of Christ. Sorry, the holy nails. But yeah, that was definitely the 9-inch nails reference for Vemmet. They're supposed to be the nails that he's looted from some church. So today we are going to be doing some conversions. Like today's the 28th, and I wanted to do something kind of special and kind of fun. So I probably will post something on Instagram to kind of just like let people know that I'm doing it. But I think I'm going to spend a good chunk of today just streaming and finishing up the conversion work on this guy and these guys. Like just finishing up doing the heavy work, I guess, like making the flail, adding the cat ears, wrapping these in like the little wire, like all the things that make these models look as over the top as like what I'm wanting them. I think I'm gonna be working on that today. And the reason, it's like, well, hey, it's the 28th. And I got real whacked out trying to figure out like, oh, hey, let's look at some numerology here. Cause it's just like, oh yeah, It's 428 and 4. It's like the perfect 28th. In my head, I don't think it could be a more perfect 28th unless there was a 14th of a. Nope. 428 seems to be the best number from a. If we were going to have a 28 holiday, I think that's the one that is the most numerically significant from a. Oh, the first part of the number goes into the other numbers. The best, like smoothest way, if you're going to pick from like a numerology standpoint. Occult reasons, that would be the one I would pick, would be 428. Anyway, so yeah, I'm going to be doing a bunch of just conversion work on these guys today, and if I get there painting, but I'm probably going to post that I'm going to be hanging out, streaming that for a good chunk of the day. I'm probably going to have my coffee and then do it. But until then, I am probably going to be working on these little wooden guys. And also, I printed off these castle things last night. We finished printing the castle, so I'll show that. We finished printing the top. We finished printing the building part of the castle. So now we're on to the walls and the parapets. But I'm pretty stoked. Look at this big old boy. And also, yeah, just a heads up, different colors. Oh no, my things. Oh no, my things. So I've got the parts that need to be glued, but the other parts are not glued yet. So picking this up off of the shelf is a little difficult currently, but once this is glued, it will not be. Yeah, that song looks so sick. It's so big. Look at this big old castle. Look at this big castle. It's so big. There's the top. There's the front. Big castle. And what you see from the back, that's where like the top part's going in, so you can kind of see down to the different floors. Also just realized that the roof has holes in it. That's cool, because you can kind of see the light coming through. Fun. Okay. And then the plan is, of course, print. We're going to be printing until, until I guess we're done printing. But I mean, I've pretty much got a thorough plan of what I want printed, and it's a lot. So we're going to be printing for a hot minute. And by the time that we are done with 1490, getting its board built and everything, we're going to jump right into building the Trench Crusade terrain again. Yeah, I really want to get back to those trenches. They were awesome. But today I've got to make progress on these guys. So I want to work on that a little bit. 1, 2, 3, 4. I've made 6, 7, 4. I made 4 of these little guys, which are going to be a form of, what is that called? Scaffolding. So yeah, so these are going to be scaffolding going up the castle, making it a little bit easier to advance from one level to the other. Don't have to have them on the board because the way that we built the height, I'm just adding them for a, oh yeah, hey, if I want those on there. I'm trying to figure out how to get these leveled, but I don't think there is a, oh, they're going to be leveled if you do blank. I think it's, I've made them intentionally not even. So yeah, okay, that one, those go together. And then I'm thinking these. Yep. And then that one. Yep. and then this one, okay, and that's how you do it. So they're not going to be even. That's for damn sure. And I don't want them to be. Like, we definitely want them to be very kind of organic. Also, yeah, there's so many just cool parts that I got out of those clocks. And if I start bending this, it just does fun stuff like that. We're not bending it. Just let it. It's just going to scream now. And now it's done, I guess. So yeah, I'm really excited to maybe make a weird noise band like setup with these clocks. There is just so much weird stuff that is all very much driven by like gravity. But yeah, that's so those clearly went inside of one of these like dresser clocks, like not dresser clock, but like a there's a term for it. There's a term, just absolute screaming. Yeah, me when I woke up this morning. That's what it just sounded like. Yeah, I like that. Just that with the. I really like that the other one, the fact that this one like it speeds up and then it slows down at random intervals. Like there's, I guess it has to do with. I don't understand how clocks work. Like these clocks anyway. Let me rephrase that. So I understand like the basis of how a clock works. Crystals are fucking nuts. Mantle clock, you got it in one. There you go, possum. Mantle, that is what I was looking for. Mantle clocks. We have a really nice one. If you enjoy clocks, I love clocks. So I love the intricate little machinery. Kelly's grandfather he built multiple clocks. He's got multiple clocks that he built in their house because he so he passed away from during COVID, and that was a really big thing for me. Just to give a little preface, really big thing for both of us. But he, again, talking with my wife, it's just I often am able to relate. I'm not able to relate very much to the guys of the generation above me, like at all. But I relate to the generation before them a lot, and always have, and have always been really interested to talk to them. I have always liked old dude stuff, specifically old military guys. Like if Kelly's my wife's grandpa and my great uncle Rick, both of them, they're the same like kind of archetype, but they're different. They're very different. They like the same things, but their personalities are very different. My great uncle was very reserved until you like pull him out of his shell, or he is reserved until you pull him out of his shell. But absolutely fascinated with learning anything. That's it. Like they want to know how things work and actually understand. And that's the difference, at least in my experiences, that I have found when I've tried to hang out or been forced to hang out with people that are the generation younger, trying to show me something. They're like, "Oh, you're gonna love this." Like, I'm not interested in that at all. But like, it's like, man, older dudes for some reason they're like, "Hey, I bet you're gonna like this. This is pretty cool." And she's like, "You're right. That's cool as shit." Just old dude stuff. Always loved old dude stuff. But clocks. Her grandpa got really into clock building at some point in time, and maybe that's it. Maybe it's just once you have been around long enough, you have enough time to develop interests that are interesting. But also, and this is not to just rant, but this is exactly what I was getting at with my wife yesterday. And I think that it's just the difference in generations. The generation before our parents or my parents, like they had real shit to deal with. They had to go fix the world. And they had to. It wasn't oh, I'm choosing to. It's like, yep, nope, we have to fix the world. We have to go do things that we don't want to do. And I'm saying fix the world. Vietnam would have been the war that they had to go to, but they did not have a choice. And that's the difference. in my opinion, of the kind of people that it made in the generations. And this is just me, my opinions, me talking out my ass. I'm not, I don't know everybody. I'm just, from what I have seen, it just seems the generation before were very wanted to understand how things work so they could try to make it better themselves, whereas afterwards it was almost like there was too much expectation but not enough real problems, so real problems had to be kind of made or acted like that we didn't need to develop a dog eat dog kind of situation. I don't know, that's just a little bit of a waking up thought for me, but and kind of why I like have always enjoyed hanging out with old dudes, but not really dads, more grandpas. And that's that. So, looking at this clock though, I really am intrigued by it because the clocks that I know about are like more modern day clocks, ones that rely on quartz, like crystals and stuff like that for like powering them. But this is much more in line, and I'm not just going to be talking about clocks all day. Um, it's just very interesting, and I think that for the kind of art that I make, it's just like I initially picked this up with every bit of intention of scrapping it and making it into like a piece of terrain, and that would be it. But now it's just like, because I put it on my desk in a certain way, gravity let it do what it's supposed to do. It's got these little hooks here in the back which are clearly supposed to let it hang, and man, I'm just, this is, I wonder how old this thing is. I don't know what kind of clocks these were. Her grandpa has, we have one upstairs that he got when he was stationed in Germany. A lot of my wife's family was born in Germany, because her grandpa was stationed over there for military. Wait, this isn't a clock YouTube channel. Fucking unsubscribe. Wait a minute. Wait a minute. This isn't my clock channel? What the f is this guy? How'd this guy get into my algorithm? Get him out of here. I'm sorry. Yeah, no, I didn't mean to just rant and rave about clocks. I do love them though. They're very interesting, and man, I hate that though. I'll tell you that. That is a noise you don't have to worry about hearing on my channel, is like the bell. Why does it have a bell? I just realized that. That's like an alarm clock thing. I didn't know mantle clocks had bells. Jesus, I hate that. But yeah, so these are just fronts. I don't know. And that's the thing, like, and when I say old dude, so I also had an ex. I had an ex that, her dad, and when I say her dad, he was an old dude. Like, he was an old when she was born. So like, he was the same age as my wife's grandpa and my great uncle, like my ex's dad was. So again, it's just like a, oh, okay, old dude stuff. But he had he was really big into cars, like redoing old cars. He had her first car was a 65 fastback Mustang that they bought for, I don't remember how much, at a junkyard, and literally rebuilt the whole damn thing like piece by piece for like a decade. And then he had I want to say a Stingray, a Pontiac Stingray. I'm not a car guy. I like old cars, like old muscle cars from like a Mad Max standpoint, and that's it. It's really weird. Like, you would think, and clearly it's I mean, I can absolutely say what it is, I have the brain that 100% would have loved to learn how to build cars and how to build like big machines like that. But it is very clearly the difference in, I would say, I guess maybe just the archetype of person that works on those. It's a lot quieter, a lot less rough housing, working on small, intricate parts, as opposed to working on big machines that, like, can handle being roughed around. So it's probably that. I probably never went over to learn into those kinds of things. I was like, I don't really like hanging out with all the rough boys, rowdy rough boys. I just kind of look rough, but I'm actually pretty soft. Seth Thomas. I don't know. I'll have to look and see. That's what it says on that. And this one, I don't want this one to start screaming again. This one's got some mold in there. That's gross. I'm going to fix that. But yeah, they're very clearly like American-made old steel. I don't know. The metal's very cool. That's very fucking cool. That looks cool. Whatever that is. Model Depots. Modele. Okay, it's gonna start screaming again. I'm done. We're not doing screaming today. But yeah, no. So he was really big into clocks and trying to fix them. These old ones. He built a couple. Like literally bought like the wood and just like made these antique looking clocks, and then bought clock parts to like put in them. But he had a bunch that they got while stationed in Europe. One of them is on our little memory. We have a little cabinet that I have all of our like keepsake stuff in our. We have 2 cabinets when you walk in the front. Now, see, clock mold is what I subscribe for, not this miniature garbage. See, clock mold, everyone is really here for the clock mold. And I'm trying to support that. I'm trying to provide it. I didn't mean to just rant and rave about why I like hanging out with certain old dudes, but not certain other old dudes. I'm not trying to do that. I'm not trying to, put down any old dudes. Instead, I think I'm just gonna start building these things. I think that seems to be what the world needs right now. I think it needs more little walkways. And I'm thinking that they need to be. So this is 4 inches, right? Yep. So 2. We're just gonna jump in. We're jumping in. Come on, vamonos. Everybody, let's go. I'm thinking that today is going to be a fun day. I think we're going to do some streaming of making these cat boys. Making them cat boys. And then maybe a little painting if we get that far. I don't know. We'll see. So I am, hey, in break. So I am pretty much just breaking these. Speaking of old dudes, it's tragic we don't get to share a hotel at Run the Dice with the old train guys this year. Man, yeah, that is tragic. I am sad that we are not going to Under the Dice. Still, I keep remembering. I'm like, man, I'm sad, and I also need to find someone. That shit low-key ruled. I made the joke whenever I was at Adepticon, and so every day I would always, like, that's the pro tip. Pro tip, if you are listening to this for some reason and later on are like, man, I've not been to Adepticon at the new place in Milwaukee. What do I need to know? The number one thing that you need to know is the bathrooms. Like the special secret bathrooms that no one else will use except for you and me and whoever listens to this or finds their own way up there are up on the top floor with the historicals. Like, they had some really fancy bathrooms up there, and I really liked them. And because it was on the very top floor, you just ride the escalator up there, and no one comes in and bothers you. Like, big bathroom, no one in there. Fun. Not fun. It's just, I don't like having a lot of people in the bathroom with me. I like my privacy. So, yeah, there's that. And then, yeah, I was going down and Gage was coming up and he was like, I'm going to go check out the historicals. And I was like, why? And I said it like, but it was mainly a joke. But also, again, when I think of historicals, there is a very specific thing that I think of, and it's the thing that makes me not want to play Trench Crusade and like almost miss out on a lot of stuff. It's the people that I have met that want to play historicals. They don't want to play historicals. They want to do racist Nazi shit in public and try to convince other people to do it with them. It's just like, what the fuck are you doing? Get out of here. Those are the only people that I've ever like really kind of ran into playing historicals, like where I'm from. And then, yeah, that's like when I think of historicals, that is the first thing that comes to mind is, okay, well, you better think really, or like, not think really quickly. You better, there is a specific timeline, not specific timeline. There are specific times. If you tell me what you're playing, I won't think you're a piece of shit if you're like, oh yeah, no, they're not all like that, but they're out there for sure. Yeah, like the guys are like, oh yeah, no, I'm just recreating the Franco-Prussian War. Okay, cool. What's going on? How long are you gonna be here? I'll sit down, when I'm bored, and I'll just come over and watch you guys. Which I'm not trying to, you know, I'm not trying to dunk on anything that anybody else enjoys, but I will say I have seen there is a dude that runs games at our local one, at our local store, Hard Knocks, and I can tell you for a fact the worst game I have ever seen. Like this is the scene out here. I haven't seen any issues, but I guess when the homies was in Utah, he definitely ran into that type of. So yeah, like they're out there and they're fucking very. I'm very afraid of. They are. That's I hate it. I hate this. I hate that I'm like this, and I hate that I have to be like this. I'm not like this because I'm like, oh yeah, fuck old people. I'm like this for a very specific reason. It's not a one or a two. Like this is a common kind of thing that I've had to run into and then just be aware of is like when I go to Hard Knocks, it's just like I have to get better about practicing what I preach. This is the kind of shit that I tell you guys, that I tell everyone that they need to be doing, to try to create the space that I want to create. You have to give everybody the benefit of the doubt, and it sucks because it's just like standing there and being like, yep, I know you're cool. We've talked. I know you're cool. We've talked. And then this guy over here, seriously, and I can't stress enough, I just kind of went on a rant for like 30 minutes about how I relate more to old dudes. Like, again, there is a specific type of old dude that's just like, yeah, we're going to be friends. Like, anything you tell me, I'm going to be impressed by, like, because you know what the fuck you're talking about. However, that old dude comes in two flavors, and it's just like one flavor is, yes, it is the only type of old guy, or really guy older than me, that like I really respect. And then there is the kind that I hate the most, which is the, oh well, yeah, it's the like the sick, distorted, fucked up version of the one that I relate to. It's like, okay, you learned how to do all these things, but you didn't take the lessons the way that you were supposed to. You turned into a monster. Just real pieces of shit. And I absolutely like that whole thing is just, don't lose yourself in whatever you do for whatever reason. But I need to work on that. I need to work on making assumptions in my head of that guy's not going to be down with what I want to talk about. He's going to make fun of me, or he's going to tell me, well, why don't you man up? And nothing like that. Like, and Steve is the one that I typically go to. He is just one of the most macho looking dudes I've ever met. And it's mainly the mustache. It's the Italian heritage, Steve. You just look like a fireman. You look like you were born to be a fireman. And if I saw you near my house and it was on fire, I'd be like, oh, thank God. Thank God someone who can handle this is here. But it's the same thing that, like, when I met Steve, I was absolutely apprehensive to talk to him because that's the kind of guy that, like, bullied me my whole life. Like, and that's a thing that, like, I need to get better at is, the world can't change if I'm not aware of these things and my own limitations. But, last time that did happen, I handed out a sticker to somebody, and who knows, maybe they're one of the people watching now. It is scary to invite people into our world, but if you don't know who they are, if you don't know them, basing what you're thinking off of, like, no one knows how to read each other's minds. That's really it. coming to terms with being like, really fucking neurodivergent, um, really makes it just like, yeah, I don't know how to read their minds, and it makes it me more aware of when I'm talking to other people that I know. Like, I know you're thinking this, or you have to be thinking this. It's just like I'm not. And now I understand. It's just like, yep, I've been doing that my whole life. I've been assuming that people are thinking something because of building up a safety net. It's just a thing that you do. But I'm going to do better about that. I encourage everybody out there. But yeah, that is why I typically have a little reservation about going and getting involved in historical stuff, just because it is literally the same thing that made me almost miss out on Trench Crusade. Is it harbors, it provides a safe place, but what if I'm a telepath? I'm not. I'm just a possum. Oh, a possum is all I need you to be, my darling possum. You are perfect as you are. Uh, Man, okay, that's pretty snug, huh? We probably shouldn't have gone with two. That's a one boy kind of walkway right there. We want a two boy walkway, but we're probably gonna have to have a little. Yeah, I know what we're gonna do. So this is needs to be. Yeah. Okay. But we just need another one there. I know what we're doing. Yeah. Okay. I'm really, really, really thirsty. I need to give it. I forgot to show you what else I got at my wife's grandma's. I guess my grandma too. Hi, grandma. I call her grandma too. So yeah, she's my grandma too. I never had a grandma. Like, I had a granny, and then I have a nana, and then I have a grandma now because of my wife. But I never had a. I had a papa, a nana, a granny, and a Preston. I think I still have a Preston, as you can tell by that. We are not close. I think I have a Preston still. The one that does not get a name whatsoever, Preston. I think the thing about those guys, the not good ones, is that they often self-report quite quickly. That's the thing. So that is it. And part of the whole thing with why I was like really in like, well, fuck, what do I do here? Is I was, like, oh, hey, my buddy Alan that lives locally, not my old friend Alan, but another guy named Alan that lives here, that checked out my models and was really nice. And I love, we've talked before over the years, when I have found my way into there. He's a local, regular, really nice guy. The guy that was with him, it was just like, I talked to you though. I don't know. You're kind of looking at me like you want a sticker, but you're kind of looking at me like you might be like, get out of here, you goofball. They never call you a goofball. God, I'm so thirsty. But this, so I also got a bunch of clamps. Like I inherited Kelly's grandfather's pony clamps, which I'm really excited that I have a bunch of clamps. Obviously, I'm very, very happy, like, to be entrusted with them, like real heavy talk. But like, those are like a very key part of like making things, is having enough clamps. Especially like he was a woodworker. Like, that's so old dudes. Kelly's grandpa was an old dude that built things. Like, he was a tinkerer. He liked to make. He also was a modeler. So that's, I haven't ever really talked about that, but we bonded because he loved not toy trains, but model trains. He built damn near everything in their house. Like, I'm pretty sure they built the house, but he built like almost all of the furniture in the house. Like, he absolutely, he's just the kind of guy, like, and very much him and, yeah, my ex's dad are the kind of guy. It's just like, yep, I can relate to, because our brains work that way, where you want to understand, you want to know, and you want to make. And it's almost like a compulsion. Like, and I can absolutely see that in them, and I can see that in me. But then my great uncle, he does not. He does not make things. But he appreciates things in a different way, in the way that I do, like in an almost obsessive kind of way. No, it's an obsessive. I guess and it's not hoarding unnecessarily. It's just a hyperfixation. He hyperfixates on certain things, but he doesn't hyperfixate on the building them. He hyperfixates on the almost gathering and showcasing. His house is the closest thing to, like, when you come into my house, like, people are like, oh, you have blank and blank, because it's like, oh yeah, I've got a bunch of skulls. Like, our dining room, like, I mean, honestly, I guess the aesthetic of our house that I want, and that my wife we love museum core. The If it looks like it could be a nice sitting area, or like maybe a slightly less professional part of a museum where they've got some like seats and some pictures and stuff of like the staff, but also there's like exhibits like in cases, and like, oh, that's fucking cool. What's this? That's kind of the vibe that, like, our house, like, we want to be very cozy and stuff, but we like the presentation of, deep dark wood, glass case, black, like, hey, look at this thing while you're here. We have lots of photo gallery walls. There's just an aesthetic about that, but the idea of keeping things that are important and displaying them so you can see them and appreciate them, and appreciating them for the right reasons, that is something that I inherited, like, specifically from my great uncle. Like, I've always had and that's why I bonded with, my ex's dad, and then Kelly's grandfather, is I didn't need to have an older guy, like, in my life that, like, taught me how to build things, because that's just my brain. My brain just does that. It has to do that. But instead, luckily, I had my great uncle, who, his whole thing was, oh, let me show you how to take care of those things that you make, because they're too important. They're too important to, like, just put in a box and like get destroyed, with as much love as you put into it. And that's what I was getting at with the 28th. And that's pictures of the staff. Wild to call your cats the staff. The help. That's kind of what I was getting at with this guy. I did not do any of this work. There we go. Yeah, I didn't do any of the work on the nails, or me cutting his head damn near off. I'm pretty proud of that. I almost cut his head off, but I stopped, and that is one of the thinnest cuts I've ever done, and that's what I was trying to get to. If I ever finish getting the thought out, I did these on Friday, like, alone, like, listening to music without streaming it, because I kind of wanted to have a private, I guess, the intimacy and the privacy of working on something without the goal of entertaining, and working on it just for me. Specifically, I wanted to do it with this one because, again, it's the first model that Beer Games sold. Like, that's important. Two, I met the person that cast it, as well as made the molds, and I listened to them talk about the love and the care that they put into literally this piece of metal that I'm holding in my hands, and the pieces of metal that are, in the bag. Like, I don't fuck with metal. Listening to her talk about how much she loved making this model, and how much she loved, like, how cool it was, just like, oh yeah, he's got all these different, the hands and all, every bit of, like, equipment. It was very clearly, it was an experience that I've never had, and I'm so very thankful for. And it's that kind of an experience that it's just like, man, I am so glad that I am, like, aware enough in my life to recognize like how special that is, that for like the first time, like I have loved making things my whole life. There is a toy movie, it's called Where Toys Come From, or like How Toys Are Made. And that is one of the first movies I can recall, outside of like Disney. Like I've watched a shit ton of Alice in Wonderland. That was always my favorite one as a little kid. You can probably see. Unhinged. So there's a movie called Where Toys Come From, or How Toys Are Made, but it follows these two toys going through a factory that is, building toys. And there is just so much of my brain, I think, was impacted by that, of just a love of every bit of that. So meeting someone that, one, builds toys to some degree, but two, loves doing it. Three, just every single thing about it. Like Cody, really, I don't have anything to say other than thanks. Thanks for selling me this model that is like an important thing to you, and allowing me to be involved in it, as well as having the experience of talking to the person that made the models, made the molds, made the casts. Like, it's just nuts. Like, she didn't sculpt them, but she did like the processing, and hearing about that from a person as opposed to nobody involved fucking even looked at the model. Like, they pressed print, it poured resin into the chamber, they pulled it out of the mold, and they put it in they didn't put it in a cardboard box. They sent it down the line. Someone else put it in a cardboard box. That is how models are made in other companies. Like, that's not my opinion. Like, period. It is a factory. There is no love, and it's just hearing her talk about making these models that they sold was a different thing entirely. And it's why I'm fucking with metal. It's why I busted out my saw and I took the time to really carefully try to cut his head off without destroying his head, without destroying his robe, and then kind of came to the conclusion that what I wanted to do won't work anyway, so there's no reason to move his head. Because he's standing like this and looking this way, it would be really easy to take his head off, switch it like this. So now this hand could hold a staff, and this hand could do this, and he could be looking at you, and just, it very quickly would have turned into a very just blasphemous shepherd. Very quick, if I could have just moved his head and then given him a staff. However, the warrior priest cannot take heavy weapons, and two-handed weapons are heavy. So that is why we are here. That's why I did not finish cutting the head off. But I would call that a happy accident, because I tell you what, I would rather not give him a staff, because that's kind of predictable. And I really, really like the idea that he's got some 9-inch nails of Christ mounted on some banisters that he stole, and he's just whacking a mole, if you know what I mean. BB. So I'm loving it. I talked about a whole lot of stuff there. But what I was getting at was a whole lot of love went into making the models, and I wanted to honor that, and do just every bit as much on my part. And that is another thing that I will just say. If you want me to play your game, boy, low model count. Low model count, I don't care how big they are, but like not a lot of them, so I can really go ham, like, and not feel bad. Trench Crusade's a whole different thing, because like, again, I don't know. I'm going to be playing in that sandbox for so long, and it's kind of frightening, and kind of like, oh man, I jumped right out of the swimming pool that I didn't really care for, that I've been trying to find my space, into the perfectly Eli-shaped hole in the ground that like Mike and Thomas built. But it's just nuts how every single person that like knows me personally, as soon as they see Trench Crusade, they're like, holy fuck. Hey man. It's just like, yeah, I know, I'm working on stuff for it now. It is so the distillation of everything I love, like, into one. So I'm gonna be making stuff for that game for forever. Um, and that honestly that led me to Kelly and I were talking. There's so many things that I am excited about that I came up with ideas for this weekend. I did a lot of practical work. I didn't do it. I did it. It's 7:40. It's coffee time. So I'm gonna tease. I'm gonna go make coffee, and I'll come back and I'll show you the thing that I got that I'm really excited about that I've been trying to hunt down for years, and Kelly finally let me have one. I will be right back. I'm gonna make coffee. I didn't leave. I promise I'm coming back. And I spilled a bunch of coffee. I'll be right back. On the top of historicals, I think some of the reason I like Battletech. Man, okay, I'm ready. And to some degree, Mashi and Kruger said they fit this weird historical like. Yes, that is exactly what I. If you do your lore right, it should, in my opinion, check those boxes. That's the same thing Horse Heresy does for me. Like, or it did until I was able to bend the line and not pay attention to the things that I didn't want to until I can't not anymore. And it's just like, there's just too many things with Horse Heresy. There's too many things with 40K that I can't not look at why they make me angry because of how they were created. Now with Battletech and Machine and Kruger, they didn't specifically have the same goals in mind when they made them, which is why they don't have these same issues. It's just, yeah, no, they did a much better job of it, of the world building and the lore. World building is, I'm gonna grab a napkin. I gotta clean up that coffee. Yeah, I was coming down the stairs with my coffee and a big slop of it came over the side and just plapped on the floor, and I was just like, the sound of it was just it was not a visually audio, like it was an audio, not appealing. It was not appealing sound. I did not like it. It was not good. What I was going to say, Machine and Krieger. I liked that when I came down, someone left after, like I got back from coffee. They were only here when it wasn't me, but it could also just be YouTube updating. God damn, I've been doing this for an hour, really? Okay, well, we're going to jump as quickly as I can then, because I don't want to make you guys just wait for coffee and then me talking. I needed to cover a couple things that I thought about this weekend that I want to make. I need to show you the thing I got. I haven't opened it yet, but I've been eyeing it. You get the full experience, the full audio clipping experience. I'm sorry, everyone. That is not the smell I associated with this. It smells exactly like a pull toy. Like if you opened up a pull toy right now, that is what this smells like. And I'm guessing it's just because of the bag. But this is a Rival Grindomatic meat grinder. I don't know when it was made, but I'm very excited. It is older, of course. It's an old, very metal meat grinder with a little, oh boy. So we are going to be grinding some bits. I really think you would like the philosophy behind the lore of MAK. They wanted to keep everything vague enough to make your own version of the MAK world and play in your own sandbox. I do. Okay, so yeah, no, and also, again, the models. I can't stress. There is... Machine and Krieger does an absolute awesome job of world design. And I've not seen everything that they have, so obviously I can't speak to everything, but one of my biggest bits and issues with miniature design, model design, I think Kelly's getting ready to leave. Yeah, I'll hold that thought. I gotta go tell Kelly goodbye and everything. I'll be right back. Machine and Krieger. No, I I went over there and cleaned it up, and I missed a huge chunk. There's the angles. Sorry, I put all those pipe planks over there. Trying to get them out of your way from the living room. And now they're in your way in the basement. Why am I a problem? Yay, thanks. I just got some new hair. Yeah, I'm not familiar with that name. Is the meat grinder for making RedWetSkeletons? Yeah, so the meat grinder is for making rubble. I've wanted a meat grinder, specifically a hand crank one, for like a decade. However, because it's a very specific like thing, and I don't want to buy one because I'm going to use it not for what it's made for. It's just more of a having something that can just grind and is made to grind is better than using a hammer and a mallet for smashing up all of my bits. Like whenever everything comes out of like the resin printer, it's like trying to grind that up for like rubble, so it can be like reused as opposed to just like tossed. Like that is going to be so much better than like having to use a hammer and like a bag and just like smash things up. Just being able to feed it into the meat grinder and just have a little pool of stuff is going to be wonderful, hopefully. And I might try to do that, and it is just a very horrible experience, but I don't think it will be. And that idea was gathered from, I believe, Codex City Fight, like the original Codex City Fight from like 3rd edition, the one that was like paper, not hardback. I want to say Andy Chambers or Phil Kelly. Someone in that, like in the book, talked about taking a meat grinder and feeding sprue into it, like an old meat grinder that was hand cranked. And specifically, it was that because new meat grinders are made to grind meat. So they are made with practical like amounts of metal. Like you don't need something super intense to grind like hamburger patties. Like, but for like a butcher shop, you need a real like meat grinder. So that's pretty much it. Like I didn't want to buy a nice metal one at the store when it was like I need one that I'm going to beat up anyway. And it's just like, hey, we've got a meat grinder that's never going to get used. So we'll see. We'll see how it goes. Hopefully it grinds the way I like. What else was I going to do? I was going to tell you guys about some things that I thought of. So one of the ideas that hit me yesterday, we got new phones. We did that. We were very productive this weekend. Went and got new phones, upgraded the internet. I had to reset up my router and that shit. I did some other stuff that was really productive for down here. I started cleaning. So that's the area over there. I'm going to figure out if I have what I lovingly refer to as the brooding chair. It is a tall back leather chair. It is absolutely just, you look at it and you're like, that's daddy's chair. I know. Like, you just know it. So I love that chair, and I've always loved the chair, and I call it the brooding chair because specifically when we purchased the house, a lot of the things that I have in my house, well, at this point, not a lot. When I bought the house, when we started living here, when we rented, it was fully furnished because the people who owned it did not want to deal with all the stuff that came with the house when they bought it. And then my buddy Alan was going to live here. He lived here for a little bit. He left even more stuff. So it was just over time, there was just an accumulation of a bunch of stuff in my house. And then I bought it. The chair and the bookcase that they both are very, they look nice. They look vintage. They look like they would fit in with museum core vibe, which is not really so much on par with the rest of the basement's modern aesthetics. However, we're working on it. We're going to get there. I love them, and I always have loved them. But the brooding chair, why I bring this up and why it's funny and why I call it the brooding chair, when I purchased the house, it was upstairs, which the upstairs of our house is non-livable. It is a quote-unquote refinished attic, and what that means is they just put up, my cats are being crazy, right above me. I can hear them thumping and flopping around, just 15 to 20 pounds of just fluff, just I can just hear them really good right above me. I don't know if you guys can hear them. If you hear any thump, 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 thump. No, you probably can't because Gareeb's making too much noise, always making too much noise. Shit. I was ranting about the meat grinder, and then I was ranting about shit. It's gonna come to me. I'm gonna get it. I'm not. Fuck. Meat grinder. Oh no. Upstairs is unlivable. Thank you so much, Eric. The upstairs is unlivable. They did not. So when you take what used to be a roof, and you're like, okay, that's fine. It's the roof. This is the attic. And then you're like, okay, but what if it's a livable space? So that roof becomes your roof wall ceiling. It's real goofy. It's a real goofy plan, and you only would do it if you don't understand or don't live there. They essentially, the ceiling now becomes a wall. So the ceiling has wall insulation in it, which means that there is this much space of joke insulation, and then there is just straight roof of my house with fucking layers of black, I want to say tarmac, but it's not tarmac. It's whatever shingles are made of. The amount of heat that catches, being on a ladder just near that thing on a summer day, it's I wish I was dead. It's so fucking hot. But during the summer, I mean, it'll kill you. And at one point when we first moved in here, I can distinctly remember being in the, it's not a room now. I shared pictures a while back. I mean, a long while back. I tore down the fake wall that kind of separated part of the space, but it's essentially just a giant 12 by 20. It's again another 12 by 20 rectangle on top of my house. They had three, 12 by 20, 12 by 20, 12 by 20, and then they were 12 by 20 on the top. That's how my house is, just 4 by 20 stacked in different shapes, to where it is functional. Uh, that's not true, not 12 by 20. It would be 12 by 22, 24, because it goes over. So it's longer. That is a little bit bigger. Anywho, whenever we first moved in, I had my workshop up there, and it was in the transition between like spring to summer when I learned all of this, because I remember being out there like, oh my God, it's so hot. And I looked over and Theo was laying in the floor and he was just going, and I was just like, oh my God. And he was just like, Dad, I'm fine. I'm not even hot. He wants to hang out with me while I'm working on stuff that he'd just rather lay upstairs and just die to the heat as long as we get to do it together. And I'm just like, buddy, we got to go downstairs. We got to go to the basement. So that was the first exodus of my hobby area. Thinking of the meat grinder, the clocks, all these things. That now gets me to last bit of things that I thought about this weekend, and why I started talking about that stuff. Why I started talking about that was because the chair and this bookshelf, like, why do we give a shit about that? I'm trying to think of how I actually want to present things. Thank you for putting up with me while I've been figuring all this out. And I realize it is also a continuation. It is I'm not going to just, oh yeah, I know how to run my own business now. But watching Uncle Adam, Tabletop Minions, there's a shout out. His space when he's talking is much more refined. Like, it's very clear he's thought about what he wants to present. And while in my head I'm like, yeah, I want these black cabinets, no stickers on them, so it's like people that, I don't want to pull anyone's attention away. I've got the green screen. I have not got it set up yet. Oh my God, are you going to sit in the chair and give us lectures? I was planning on sitting in the chair to have these kinds of conversations, or to do my, depending on where we are, it was going to be where I do my solo RPGs. I'm thinking I'm going to set up a little lamp to the right, so it's just going to be a very, oh, hello there, sport. I don't have anything to use. I got a box cutter. Oh, hello there, sport. Come on in. Grab a chair. Fireside chats. Yeah, we need the, oh, I didn't see that. Yeah, so like essentially just the, oh, didn't see you there. That's, yeah, so you boys know what we're cooking. And see, that's what I'm talking about. I think it'll be good. I think fireside chats are good. And then I think, so as far as using the space, I think it will be, or the visual, the idea of this little fireside chat, like, oh, hey, we're in Dad's study next to the fireplace. It'll be good for either A, reviewing stuff, like, hey, these are, and when I say reviewing stuff, I can't stress enough. I am never like, hey, so-and-so sent me this or they paid me to do this. I want to, like, talk about it so you'll go buy it. I am never going to do that. Like, on a fundamental level, I refuse to sell things. I will not be a salesman again. I have done that. I did that before. That was my job before I, started working in telecom. I was a salesman. From high school on, I worked in retail. I never did food service, but I worked in retail. And the first job I had, I enjoyed it until it stopped being what it was. But I worked in a music store, so I got to sell people things that I love. And that was great. And then eventually it became the capitalist bullshit that every job does that sells things, where it's just like, yeah. So instead of selling things just like albums that you like, these weird, Converge, whoever the fuck that is, if you ever came to the FYE in Elizabethtown, you're welcome. And you liked heavy shit, they did not have heavy shit until I started working there, and I started ordering in Converge, Breather. I started just if it was hardcore and it wasn't, or if it was just heavy and it was not Slayer or generic, mainstream heavy music, like the weird shit, the weird punk, metalcore, that stuff, all that. I started to get that in around 2005, 2006, pulling all that in. So fun. Love selling things to people. Love talking to people. I don't love selling things. I hate selling things, actually. I fucking hate selling things. I cannot sell things. I don't like to sell things. I love to talk about things that I love, though. And if I have them for sale, you can buy them. That's the kind of person that I am. I don't know. I don't ever like to feel like I'm trying to convince or trick someone, because I've had that happen to me too much. That's it. Too many people have sold me things, and I don't want to be sold a damn thing ever again. I want to tell people why I love what I love and what I like about what I like, and they can, if they want it, they can have it too. Like, that's where I'm at. So when I say like, oh, reviews, it's more of, hey, I'm doing a review, like, I want to kind of go over this and what I think about it, and you should check it out if it's something that you're interested in. That's what I say when I mean reviews. I don't mean somebody mailed me something, they gave me a thing, so now I'm doing it, because it's like that. I never am going to have that kind of shit. I am going to keep it, full disclosure, 100%. Which that, again, speaking of being a fucking hermit and a weirdo, I, for the first time, watched the Trench Crusade presentation that they did at Adepticon that I was in the building for but wasn't in the room, which is crazy because I absolutely would have loved it. Also, I now understand why Cody and literally everyone else was just like, you should go talk to the Trench Crusade guys again. I think you guys are on the same page. But yeah, no, essentially they made a presentation, and if you type in, Trench Crusade presentation, the one I found was on Mini Wargaming Dave's channel. I don't know him, so I don't have any context. But what I enjoyed about that video was Thomas. Thomas pretty much does the entire presentation. And it's awesome. He pretty much, everything that I'm like, this is why I like Trench Crusade, he pretty much kind of covered the, oh yeah, this is why it's like that. We wanted to, I'm trying to, the words that he used, and he used them like when I talked to him, like it wasn't a, oh, this is my presentation. Like, naturally talking to him, you can tell that, like, yeah, no, this is not something that he made for the presentation. It's how he talks. And that is something that's very important to me. I like when I know a person when I talk to them. Like, there is nothing more alarming or more red flag to me. Like, I can get the hell away from this person, is if I talk to you and I don't get an idea of who you are. Like, that's very not good. It's very frightening. If you have a wall put up so good that no one knows the kind of person you are, just from like an exchange that they could have been like, oh, he seemed like a nice guy. If they walk away and like, I don't know anything about that guy. Not good. But yeah, talking to them about all the things that I was concerned about. Apparently, they had all dealt with that before, internally and externally. And I loved every response. It was just we are not going to pander, and we're not going to slander. No, don't pander, don't slander. Like, we're going to make the game that we want. We are going to show respect to the groups that we can in the only way that makes sense. And that's what I loved, because it was just like, holy shit. Finally, somebody fucking understands what people want. Just give them what they fucking want. Like, I want to be represented in your game. Okay. How would you like that? That's all it takes. That's all it takes is, hey, I want to represent X people in my game. Well, did you talk to them? No. Well, then you fucked up. You fucked up really hard. That's all you have to do, is if you talk to the people that you want to represent and like, hey, I want to support them and show them that like they are in here as well. Everybody's welcome. I think their heritage is really cool. I like, all this stuff. You should probably talk to them and find out how they want to be represented. Because how the fuck else would you know that? And that's the first time I've ever seen a game that did that. Like tabletop game. Let me cover that. Like, I know video games, that's all the time, but it's a much different. They had to do that because video games are not made on the same scale. We've had to go play in that space where you have to talk about people to them and like with them to be like, hey, how do you want to be represented in video games a lot earlier because of things like Resident Evil 5, all kinds of things where it's just, oh yeah, I want to represent people of all types in my game. A lot of people have done that really, really, really dumb and really, really, really bad. And it's really frustrating. And that's the same concept when it comes to like wokeism, and like, appropriation. The I mean, I love wearing very over the top jackets, and I've just lived in fear of like being accused of appropriation because of wearing the style of clothing that I like, because it is typically it's 100% just like Japan 90s Japan, like youth is the kind of aesthetic that I love, and it is based on a Japanese perspective of hip hop in America, and like with that filter also of fuck the man. Like that's been a very big part of like Japanese youth culture, I think, for a very, very, very long time. And like, I mean, you can tell like Akira's such a fucking good movie. Akira had a big impact on like my vibe, clearly, but aesthetic wise, definitely. I think that's a lot of rambling. All these things were just blah 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 blah. I am going to today be taking. I've got my giant whiteboard. I've got my other whiteboard. I'm starting to transcribe the ramblings. I'm starting to make my Carol runes. Transcribe my ramblings from these whiteboards into like an actual document. That way I can start truly documenting and working on like my individual world building that I've been doing, which is still absolutely happening. I love Trench Crusade, the game that I wanted to make, or the universe that I want to make. I still want to make that because it still is a place that I want to play in, because it does not. I love Trench Crusade, and Trench Crusade absolutely is capturing the like blasphemous little shit in me. But it also is still very much there's hope. I can't stress enough. I know that like Trench Crusade is like it looks like there's no hope, but like there's hope at least. Like I really want to make a game that is just nihilism turned up to the extreme, Doom 2016, but made for the character in Game of Thrones that just wants to smash the Beatles. That's the game that I want to make, and I'm working on mentally. I think I'm probably going to stop here because I'm getting really tired talking, and I've been going for about an hour and 27 minutes, almost an hour and a half. I really appreciate your time and listening, and having someone to talk to, everyone. I hope the campfire like kind of thing sounds good. The fireside chats. My thoughts about that, and I never finished, were depending on if I do it over there or I do it over here. I need to figure out my setup, the layout of the basement a little bit better. I want to have it to where the angle that you're seeing like in the top corner, it would be a little bit better for that one, because obviously there's a little more to see in the picture with the cabinet, the chair, a little more ambience, and then the main screen to be a look down view of what I'm drawing or what I'm working on. And we could do that a couple different ways, either the same kind of situation here where you can just look straight down, or we could even do it from the back. Can't wait to see the brooding chair. Oh no, thank you, Possum. Thank you, Possum. Thank you, Eric. Thank you, everyone else. Anyone else that is on. I appreciate the company. I am probably going to hop back on later at some point, but I'll put some stuff on Instagram. I'll put some stuff out. I'll put something in the Discord. I'm going to be working on that this week. I'm going to be working on getting shit actually working and going and running smoothly, to try and actually get some some stuff done. We're getting almost done to where we can start playing games with 1490. And that's just to keep you all up in speed. That's literally what I'm working on. Is I want to get a game that has physical models that I can play with to showcase going, and that is when I'm going to essentially start. Love this energy, exciting stuff. Discord announcement channel when. Discord announcement channel. That's okay. Yeah, no, I need a, yeah, I made you both mods. So I don't know if I talked about that, but I made you guys both mods because I was just like, I trust them, and they know what they want. If they want something, I'll let them make it. But also, if you just want me to make it and you don't want to do that, I'll make it. I am not trying to say like, oh, be the change you want to see, do my job for me. I'm not saying that. I'm just like, hey, if you guys want to, you have the power. I trust you. I value your opinions. I know you all know what you want to see and what other people want to see, because I don't know that. Like the fact that you guys are excited about the brooding chair and the cabinet, I'm like, hell yeah. I'm glad. I was afraid you guys would be like, I don't give a fuck about your chair, dude, but it's a good vibe. Can mods do that? I don't know. I gave you permissions to do damn near everything. At least I thought. I don't know. But I'll look. You should have unlimited power. Like you should be able to even change your mod names to whatever. Like the only things that I think I didn't give you was, shit, I might have even done that. I might have given you too much power. I might have given mods unlimited power because I was just like, yeah, I like that until it's going to be the problem that it is, but I don't see you guys making it a problem. Hold on. I've got to go ban my... Yeah, so if anything, I feel like that is the problem. I could see it happening. It's just, oh God, Eric and Possum have too much power and they just ban each other. And then I have to like add them back. What have you done? Exactly. It's just my two godling children just fighting about amongst the treasures. And it's just like, oh no, I let you guys do that because I couldn't do it. I knew that was going to happen with just me. So, but no, I couldn't fix your typo in the description. Oh man, I didn't know there was a typo in the description. I'll work at that. Yeah, I got a bunch of stuff I need to work on. But yeah, so the book corner, that also got me thinking, and that's I've had so many ideas for books of like, I want to make a book like blank, and like for the longest time that was like yeah, that'd be really fun, but back to work. And now it's just like, there's a book that I've wanted to make for a long time, and it's not a gaming book. It's just a book, a storybook. I love certain books. They just vibes. Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark is one of the biggest influences on my aesthetic and me as a person. I very much came into contact with that book at a time that was very pivotal, but also like, man, that had an impact. You grew up with that, huh? I can tell you're fucked up. My mom was a teacher, so like there were just years of like, the summer I would go to school while she's setting up her classroom, and I'm just in the library in the dark because like no one else is in the school except like my mom and a few other teachers, and they're just setting up the school, like getting ready for next year, and I'm just in the library all summer long reading whatever in the dark in like a little tent with a flashlight, reading all of the Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark books and all the books about like horror and like movie monsters and how those things are made. I'm realizing now, like, why the fuck were those in the elementary school library? That's not on me, but those were cool fucking books. I learned a lot of cool stuff when I was a little kid. I spent a lot of time in the library. I'm realizing that now. Shout out to that creepy fucking tree guy. Yeah, love that creepy fucking tree guy. Love the hair on the hobby desk. Oh, thank you. That's a recent acquisition. Kelly gave that to me this morning. She said, hey, do you want these bangs? And I said, of course. And then I said, oh, no, hold on, and I clicked it in like this. And I said, oh, hey boys. And Kelly was just like, yep. And I was like, yeah, they're going to love it. They're going to love how beautiful I am. Do you guys think I'm pretty? So with all that said, that was a lot that I just got out there. I want to make a book. It's I don't know who I need to talk to, but I know a lot of people that have made books. It's a children's book. Um, it is going to be called Sister Margot's Increasingly Disturbing Stories for Very Small Children. Um, I'm pretty sure that was the title. I've been working on this concept for years. Sister Margot's Increasingly Disturbing Stories for Small Children. That's the name of the title. Um, I've just started to think about like all the things I'm like, man, I want to make that. Someone would pay me for that, and I want to make it. Like, and there's a lot of books that I've thought about that I'm like, I've thought of illustrations. I've thought of like, I've just thought of these books. They just live in my head. Um, but someone would like that on their shelf. I would. I'd pay for that. So I should look into that. A couple of different ideas of things that I just want to make that have been in my head for so long that I'm like, that's a thing that needs to be in the world. But those kinds of things, upsetting little story books that are very clearly not made for children, but they're targeted towards children, but they're made for adults. Like that is the kind of vibe that I've been thinking about that. Also, with the clock parts, it made me think about a project that I had a long time ago that I still love and I am eventually going to revisit. Um, and I had planned to revisit it when I first started doing 28 stuff again. So that's why I was thinking about it last night. Um, but I wanted to make almost like a collection, a 4-part collection of pieces telling the story of a character that I came up with back in high school, when I first started to really understand and learn like the lore of Warhammer 40K. And by that, like understand and like learn, it was like, oh, okay, it's a lot cooler than I thought it was if you think about it like this, like the warp specifically and the concepts of the warp and sending stuff into the warp. And it was essentially the story that came to my mind instantly when I saw the Yggdrasilium, the Yig board, the Yggdrasilium that Neo 101 made. It is what brought me back into the hobby. It's what got me building models again. And the story, the character that it made in my head was called the Deltagrapher. And the Deltagrapher, I made a very brief concept album. And I want to say it was like 2 to 3 songs. I mean, it was very short, but it was essentially a noise album called Deltagrapher. One of the songs was called The Sea of Faces, which is also a Fur and Teeth song. I've realized that a lot of like the lore and stuff that I've kind of had in my head, I just kind of let it bleed out into like art that I make. And I've been doing this for a very long time. And I should probably start collecting them and putting them in places together. But the Deltagrapher was essentially an ambient noise band, but the concept is about mapping the warp. And I wanted to tell the story visually with almost like the same kind of style boxes that Anna Plancic, Gardens of Hecate, the little vignette boxes that she will make with like the little ghouls in there and some sticks and whatnot. That kind of idea, I've thought about that for a long time, specifically how I want to show the Deltagrapher its story. And the idea is essentially mapping the warp, but I want it to be presented in a Odyssey, like in the same way that the Odyssey, like Odysseus is, he's sent out. When you are introduced to this character, it is a man, and then slowly as the story unravels, you find out that this was not a man. It is a machine that has gained sentience in the warp and is now learning that it was not a man, it is a machine, and what to do with that. And the Deltagrapher, that idea, Delta is just a designation. It is the fourth grapher unit that was sent into the warp in an attempt to start mapping. And again, this is just the concept of the warp, event horizon. These kinds of things are when when I really first started getting into what is 28 now, into grim dark, you know, Inquisimunda, all that stuff. What is now like a very established aesthetic. Like at the time, it was pretty much Neil's board, like the Yig board and the models that were made for the Yig board, and trying to understand that there wasn't anything there for me to understand. That it is what it says on the tin. It is just a bunch of trash people living in their best trash lives. And that's the kind of games that I love to play. I didn't mean to tell you, fake out that I was going to get off here and then just not. But this time I mean it for real. I think I am probably going to drop. I haven't even touched this coffee. But I'll be back because I want to work on these guys, specifically these three. I want to work on these three. It's the 28th BB. So I think we're going to be doing a lot of 28 fun stuff today. So I'll be streaming here in a little while after I rest, kind of get everything set up, get cleaned up, get ready. And we're going to get back into working on these three guys. And I'm going to try to get them to be ready for paint and maybe even start on painting today. I think that is what I'm doing. I will continue putting ideas into paper. And yeah, I'll keep you all up to date. I'll let you know if I'm going to do any streams. I'll put something on Instagram. I'll put something in Discord. I'll let you know before it just happens. But sometime today, we will definitely be doing a longer stream of sitting down and working on these boys. But again, thank you all so much for your time. It really means the world to me that you want to hang out with me in the morning and listen to me just talk. Like, that's awesome. I really can't express that enough. It means the world, and I really appreciate it. I hope you all have a good rest of your morning. Thanks again. Sit pretty, and I'll let you know. You guys have a good one. Take care.